Group 1 today, New Zealand versus Sri Lanka, has seen a big result that has once again turned the table entirely topsy-turvy. Breaking news, New Zealand have won against Sri Lanka by 65 runs at the Sydney Cricket Ground and are now firmly at the top spot with 5 points. This 65 run win has significantly boosted their net run rate. It may go to +5. So they are now on course to reach the semi-finals of the T20 World Cup. This loss for Sri Lanka is massive because they have now had two big losses to Australia and New Zealand, and the net run rate has been impacted very badly because of this. The summary of the match is that Glenn Phillips take a bow. What a knock, 104. And considering that New Zealand were 15 for 3 and only 25 for 3 in the power play, towards the 10 over mark, they had somehow reached 55 for 3. But Glenn Phillips, what a magnificent knock he made. 10 fours, 4 sixes, and he became the second New Zealand player after Brendan McCullum to score a century in the T20 World Cup. Phillips's effort ensured that New Zealand, from 25 for 3 in 6 overs, they managed to reach 167. In response, Sri Lanka also had a disastrous start in the power play, managing to be reduced to 24 for 4. And from that point on, 65 for 8, they never ever recovered for that. So New Zealand have emerged victorious. Although, if you want to have a silver lining in that victory margin, Sri Lanka lost by only 2 runs, but to Glenn Phillips's knock alone. So what this does in the points table is that New Zealand are now on top with 5 points. One win against Australia, one abandonment against Afghanistan, and now this win against Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, on the other hand, their one win against Ireland has been followed up by 2 very poor losses to Australia and New Zealand. And so their net run rate has taken an absolute pounding. All the gains that they made in that Ireland game have been nullified. Now, if Sri Lanka had won at the Sydney Cricket Ground today against New Zealand, they would have ensured that there was a 5-way race for the top 2. Because Ireland, England, and Australia are now on 3 points. Because of New Zealand's win now, Australia, England, and Ireland all have gotten a lifeline, and that is why they can say, okay, we now have a good chance of reaching the semi-finals. But what is the situation regarding England? England will now have two tough games now. They will face New Zealand at the Gabba, and they will then take on Sri Lanka in their last league game. For Australia, they take on Ireland and Afghanistan, so their prospects have brightened because of this win. Sri Lanka, heading into this match, remember, had a big burden of history on them. They were leading 4-1 in T20 World Cup encounters against New Zealand. 2007, Sanand Jayasurya's knock ensured that Sri Lanka won that game by 6 wickets at Johannesburg. In 2009, Ajanta Mendes bamboozled them and Sri Lanka won by 48 runs in Trent Bridge. 2010, Nathan McCullum, the brother of Brendan McCullum, ensured that New Zealand won on the final over at Providence, Guyana. But in 2012 and in 2014, there would be heartbreak. 2012, the super over in Palakele saw Sri Lanka winning by 8 runs in that super over. Martin Guptill tried to hit a 6, but was caught near the boundary. In 2014, at Chittagong, they were undone by a brilliant spell from Rangana Herath, who took 5 for 3. Since then, New Zealand have not won in the T20 World Cup against Sri Lanka, but now they have ended 12 years of pain. 2010 in Providence they had won, and now 2012, 2014, all those losses have been eradicated, and they have won in 2022 at the Sydney Cricket Ground. So New Zealand's next 2 features now in this T20 World Cup are against Afghanistan, against Ireland, and against England. England will be on November 1st at the Gabba, and November 4th, it will be against Ireland. So let's see what New Zealand can shape up in that. On the other hand, Trent Boult once again showed that why he's the best and why he will be missed after he refused a New Zealand Central contract. Boult's 4 for 13 totally ripped apart the Sri Lanka batting lineup. 3 wickets in the power play itself, and Sri Lanka never recovered. Tim Southee bowled a sensational spell. Lockie Ferguson was in form. Ish Sodhi, Mitchell Santner were also in good form. So it was a thorough, clinical, all-round display from the Black Caps, who are now firmly on course to cement their spot in the semi-finals. But for the second spot in Group 1, it is not going to be that easy. Although Sri Lanka lost this game, they are still in with a mathematical chance. If they beat England and if they beat Afghanistan, then they'll have to hope that New Zealand beats England and Australia can only win one of them, one of their games, to ensure that they can go through. So this win by New Zealand has given Sri Lanka a very tough time, but opened the doors for Ireland, England, and Australia. Yes, big boy, another huge win for New Zealand. Their net run rate now will be insane. It would have gone past +5, which is on par probably with South Africa in that other group after they won by 104 runs against Bangladesh. So South Africa, so tomorrow, India needs to avoid New Zealand in semis. Haha, Harsh Khatri, we know where we are getting that from. But if tomorrow, the triple header that's there, Zimbabwe versus Bangladesh at the Gabba, Pakistan versus Netherlands in Perth, and the big match tomorrow, India versus South Africa. If India wins that, they are all but assured of a top spot because they will be playing Bangladesh and Zimbabwe in their next two matches. South Africa, on the other hand, if they lose that game, they are in huge trouble because Zimbabwe are clicking on the heels, and Zimbabwe wins against Bangladesh and the Netherlands. You never know what will happen. New Zealand in pole position tomorrow, we need to win. Yes, I think India are in a good position at this point in time. Oh, I got an update that New Zealand's run rate has the net run rate has reduced by 3.85. Wow. Okay, so now New Zealand's net run rate is plus 3.85. I think they had to beat Sri Lanka by an even bigger margin because they mostly played out until the last over and the winning margin was 65 runs. Probably that's the reason why New Zealand's net run rate has dipped slightly to 3.85. So, if India wins tomorrow, then they are all but assured of a top spot. But if South Africa win, then it throws a big lifeline for Pakistan because Pakistan will be on will have got no points yet. Their next three games are against South Africa, Bangladesh, and also they will be playing. Pakistan's next three games in this T20 World Cup will be one against the Netherlands that happens tomorrow, and the remaining two are against South Africa and against Bangladesh. So New Zealand, no, we cannot say that New Zealand is the first team to qualify because if they lose to England and if Australia can win their remaining two games, they can still be knocked out because England are on 3 points at this point in time. If they win against New Zealand and they win against Sri Lanka, and if Australia also win against Ireland and Afghanistan, then New Zealand may not be able to make it. So that is the way. If New Zealand beats Afghanistan, if New Zealand beats Ireland, then their superior net run rate could push them through. So no team is assured of a qualification to the semi-finals yet, but New Zealand are in prime position. In the other group, India are on top with South Africa and Zimbabwe on 3 points each. So it is all building up to be a very interesting encounter. Tomorrow will be the second last triple header in this T20 World Cup. Remember, on November 6th, the final day of the league games, there will be a triple header as well. So join us in Sports Today for all the latest news and analysis. We'll be back with more such updates from the T20 World Cup. Press the like, comment and share button. We are also there on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Thank you.